Hey everyone, my name is Sean Cecil from the Oculus Institute, and today we're going to discuss problem-based thinking versus solution-based thinking. Okay, so when you're faced with a task or a challenge or anything any form of resistance in life, there are two ways that you can handle it. There is problem-based thinking and there is solution-based thinking. So problem-based thinking is where you list off all of the things that stand in your way, all of the obstacles, every way that this wouldn't work, every solution that wouldn't work, how screwed you are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Solution-based thinking is where you say, hey, listen, regardless of what's going on here, let's try to generate ideas. Let's find a way to make this work. Let's pick the best solution that's going to achieve the goal, even if there are drawbacks, right? Now, obviously, you can't ever operate entirely in one or the other, because if you're in solution-based thinking and you have no regard for the drawbacks, then you're probably going to do something reckless, right? But I would say that you've got to have a balance of at least 70% solution-based thinking versus problem-based thinking. And I would say that most people probably have a balance of about 80 to 90% problem-based thinking and not solution-based thinking, right? So, you'll see people who are constantly catastrophizing over different possible futures and what if this goes wrong and that goes wrong and that goes wrong and all the horrible things, and you're like not even there yet, and you'd be like, hey, well, what if we just didn't worry about that until we had more information? Right? Because if you may be in a situation where you don't have all the information. Most of the time that's the case. And so one of the most deleterious forms of problem-based thinking is when you're obsessing about potential future outcomes when you have very little information. Because if you're in a situation where you say have 10% of the information available, right, and you're assuming the other 90% is bad, then everything's gonna be a catastrophe and you're never gonna move forwards. If you just wait until you have 70% of the information, then you'll know that certain problems will just not be on the table anymore, right? And so you really want to avoid problem-based thinking dominating a situation when you don't have enough information to make a judge. Whereas if you're going at it with 70% solution-based thinking, then you can say, hey, listen, these are a couple major risks. Let's keep an eye on this as the situation develops. And then you can actually get stuff done. This is related to a concept that's taught often in NLP and in other coaching dynamics called being at cause or being at effect, right? So if you are at cause, that means that you're saying, hey, listen, I'm responsible for this situation. I'm responsible for the outcome. I need to find a way, right? This is the kind of an adult way of going about things, right? Yes, there are challenges and, it's my job to create the best possible outcome from the situation in front of me. Right? Being at the effect is where you sit there and make excuses and say, oh, but this thing happened and this thing happened and the other thing happened and I can't do this and I can't do that. And what if that happens? I don't know how to handle, right? Obviously, one of those is more productive than the other, right? Because being at cause is primarily solution-based thinking. Being at effect is primarily problem-based thinking, right? And so one thing that you might want to do, one really interesting experiment would be to analyze in a given day how many of your statements when dealing with, projects or challenges or whatever, what percentage of those are problem-based or solution-based thinking. Like actually write down every statement, right? Or, just make a little tick mark. Every time you make a problem-based statement, just tick one. Every time you make a solution-based statement, tick one. And at the end of the day, tally it up and get the percentage. Right? Because that'll be really revealing, and sometimes people aren't necessarily, they don't realize exactly what's coming out of their mouths. They don't realize how many statements they're making without data. I found there's a lot of studies on this that people don't realize it until they actually make note of it. But I would encourage you to do that and see what's your, ratio of problem-based and solution-based thinking. And from there, setting an intent to get it to, as I said, somewhere closer to a 70-30 ratio.
Hey everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's something that resonated with you, maybe a new connection that you made or some information that shifted your perspective, if you found value here, then I want to give you one last gift. So I've put together a free diagnostic that I call a checkup with the career doctor. short list of questions. And as you answer them, it's going to give you a readout of where you stand on the important metrics of career fulfillment, right? How happy are you with your job and how good a fit is it, right? Financial success, which we all know, and then internal alignment, which is your level of inner peace and the inner resources that you have to bring to creating the life that you want. Additionally, it's also going to show you which areas you can improve on to get those metrics moving in the right direction, as well as how can we at the Oculus Institute help you make progress. So it's totally free, 100%. All you have to do is just go to www.oculusinstitute.com/purpose quiz, right? No spaces, no dashes, just oculusinstitute.com. That's OCULUSINSTITUTE.com/purpose quiz. And you can take it totally for free. You'll get a free report sent to you. And then at the end, it will give you some next steps of what you can do to reach out so that we can help you create the career of your dreams.